the Expert, and you join me for the next instalment in our ThoughtSpot new release series, where we look at all the new features added each month by the team at ThoughtSpot. In this video, we're going to be focusing on those features added in both version 10.12 and version 10.13 Cloud. And you can see from the list behind me, there's a lot to get through, and there's even more features that I won't be covering today. So as ever, do check out the full release notes page from ThoughtSpot for full details. But for now, let's get started by looking at those released as part of 10.12. Okay, so first up, and one that's been advertised for quite some time now, and one that is simply that officially worksheets have now been removed from ThoughtSpot and are fully replaced by models. As I say, this has been advertised for quite a while now, so this likely has little impact on your workflow, as I'm sure you've already migrated your worksheets to models. But if you haven't, then you'll be relieved to know that ThoughtSpot handles the process automatically and all worksheet features are fully supported in models. Alright, let's move on and see something more exciting, this time relating to Spotter and the ability to coach Spotter in a conversation. This is just one of those nice features that makes life using Spotter, especially in an admin capacity, that little bit easier. It's quite simply, when you're asking questions in Spotter, if you feel that it needs coaching, you can do this directly from the conversation by clicking, yep, you guessed it, the Add to Coaching button. From there, you can simply make the changes that you need to and hit Save and Continue. And once you've got those changes, that's it, they're done. The coaching has been done straight from the answer, so it's direct within the conversation and no need to navigate to a separate page. Moving on, third in our list in version 10.12 is the ability to add some instructions to Spotter in order to help it understand how to interpret your questions. To do this, when you have asked a question in Spotter already, you can then click on the little instruction picture in the top right and define the instructions that you want. So a nice easy example in this is if you always type in monthly, but actually you would like this to be the last 30 days, then you can say in the instructions that when I type last month, then always have the order date equals the last 30 days. And then going forward, Spotter will always do that, and you don't have to keep fixing it every time if that is a regular question that gets asked. Next up is Spotter context in feedback. So just like the ability to add instructions to Spotter, this is quite similar in that you can basically coach it in order to interpret questions in a specific way. So for example, if I type in, show me the most active users, then I want it to always show me the top 10 users by their conversation count, for example, and then also include username and user ID columns. So it's a nice easy addition, but it's a really handy feature going forward for Spotter users and certainly system administrators, because it means that you can really set up the model to answer questions correctly for the user, and you won't need to keep fixing these. The users won't need to keep marking these as incorrect or even just adding additional fields to the question every time. Next, another simple but effective one, we have the ability to rerun a search without needing to amend the query at all. So you can just simply click the run button again and it'll rerun the search. You don't need to add or remove any fields from the query in order to instigate like a fresh run. Finally, for version 10.12, we've got a custom sort order on answers. And again, a very simple one, but it just gives the user that bit more flexibility when creating visualizations that they want for their organization. So for this, you can go into an answer, then you can go into the settings and you'll see for the dimension we've got the sort order, and we can choose whether to leave it as it is, have it alphabetical, or define a custom sort order. That's it for version 10.12 new features. Without further ado, let's move on to the version 10.13. And we start off with a really nice one called forecasting. So to do this, you can only do it on a KPI chart. You would select Spot IQ and then you'll see there's a new forecasting option. When you click on that, you're given some options such as choosing which measures to include in the KPI when you run the analysis, and as usual with Spot IQ, when the analysis is finished you'll be notified and you can go and view that. Next, we've got custom column sets. So these have been available in early access before, but now they're available for all users and turned on by default. So a column set is basically a custom group of values that you can establish, and it's a nice way of grouping up values together without needing to create formulas. So to do this, when you're in search data, you can go to the add icon like you would to create a formula or a parameter, and then select create a set. And then it brings up this window and you can choose the column that you're going to base the set on and then define the grouping. It's just a far easier way to do it than perhaps typing out a custom formula to group up cities into states and things like that. Next, We have the ability now that if you've got a job that's been scheduled and it fails, you get an alert. A really basic one. I'm not going to demonstrate this because I don't have any scheduled jobs that are failing at present. But as you expect, all it means is that when that scheduled job does fail, you'll get a notification. It's just a little bit of a nicer user experience. Next, we've got persona-based navigation. So this is effectively a change to the look and feel of the application based on your level of privileges. So you'll see the menus are slightly altered, for example, if you're an administrator. And that's probably the main change that you'll see. Chances are if you're watching this, you might be a system administrator. You'll see that the admin settings have moved over to where your profile picture is. And on the left-hand side, you have the more traditional insight and data panes, as well as the develop tab. Again, if you've got developer privileges. If you don't, then you won't see that. So it just means it's a bit more role-based. The penultimate one we're going to look at here is listing pages, or enhanced listing pages, should I say. And again, this is fairly basic, but it's just one extra step that ThoughtSpot are doing in order to take on board some of the feedback that people have given in terms of perhaps some limitations when using one of the list pages. And all it means is that if you're in a window such as the live boards window or answers, or even in the data objects pane, where there's lots of lists of values such as all the available models, it's just now easier to sort these columns and choose appropriate filters and sorting in a way that you want to. There's a few different options for you, and it just makes it that little bit easier. And last but not least, we've got enhanced row level security logic. So this is ultimately just providing you with a bit more flexibility to establish the row level security rules, meaning you don't need to push some of the security requirements back into the data model side of things. You can actually control a bit more from within ThoughtSpot. So that's it. That was a very, very quick run through of most of the new features that have come out in these last two releases. Again, as I said at the beginning of the video, it's really worth checking out the documentation that ThoughtSpot provide on the new releases. It gives you a full list of all the details of both version 10 and version 10.12 and version 10.13 new releases. And version 10.14 is on its way imminently. So I will be recording another video to cover those new features as soon as it's released. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.